There exists in the mind of man a silent power, unseen, yet unfailing, which when once awakened by a burning desire, becomes the guiding intelligence of all achievement. The majority of men pass through life never discovering this hidden instrument. They live by chance rather than by purpose. They wish, they hope, they dream, yet never command the forces of their own thought into action. The few who do discover it, those rare individuals who learn to transmute desire into belief and belief into form, stand forever among the architects of civilization. They are the men who seem favored by destiny, though destiny is but the obedient servant of a mind made definite. You may call this power autosuggestion. You may call it the mastermind principle. In truth, they are two halves of the same whole, the inner and outer mechanism through which thought takes shape and becomes reality. The spark of desire. Every great achievement begins with desire. Not a casual wish, not a fleeting hope, but a pulsating, consuming, unrelenting wanting that grips the heart and refuses to be silenced. Desire is the starting point of all fortune. Yet desire alone is impotent until it finds direction, form, and persistence. For every man who merely wishes to succeed, there are 1,000 who drift into failure, because their desires were no more than idle fantasies, never strengthened by faith nor transmuted by action. The individual who learns to feed his desire through the principle of autosuggestion turns mere wanting into a command to his subconscious mind, and through it to the infinite intelligence which governs all power. Autosuggestion is the agency through which any man may write upon the tablets of his own subconscious mind the exact nature of the thing he seeks. The subconscious mind knows neither good nor evil, truth nor falsehood. It accepts all impressions with equal readiness. Whatever thoughts are repeated, charged with emotion, and held in the mind with faith, will in time be accepted as fact by this silent power within. Once accepted, those ideas begin to influence every action, every decision, every vibration of one's being. They summon unseen forces, attract kindred minds, and awaken dormant faculties. It is as though a command has been issued to the universe itself. This I desire, and this I shall have. You have experienced this principle unconsciously 1,000 times. Think of a melody that repeats itself until you find your lips humming it without intent. Think of an idea which, once planted, begins to shape your opinions and your mood. This is autosuggestion at work, but when deliberately employed, when tied to a definite purpose, it becomes the master key to achievement, the bridge to infinite intelligence. The conscious mind is the pilot. It directs, chooses, and decides. The subconscious is the engine, tireless, obedient, and infinitely powerful, yet without direction until commanded. Autosuggestion is the bridge between the two. Through repeated, emotionally charged affirmation of a definite desire, the conscious mind impresses that desire upon the subconscious. And once impressed, the subconscious mind begins its silent labor, weaving circumstances, drawing people, and aligning conditions which lead to the fulfillment of that command. It is not magic. It is the orderly operation of the natural laws of thought. Thoughts are energy. Energy vibrates. Vibration attracts that which is harmonious to itself. Thus, the thought of success, when held with intensity and faith, must draw unto itself the elements of success. It is through this third mind that man contacts the universal intelligence, the source of all invention, inspiration, and genius. The mastermind is the amplifier of autosuggestion. When a definite desire, charged with faith, is shared among harmonious minds, it multiplies in power, clarity, and force. The vibration grows stronger. Ideas appear where none existed. Courage rises where doubt once stood. This, dear listener, is the secret by which the greatest achievements in human history have been wrought. Edison, the living example. Consider the story of Thomas A. Edison, that quiet genius whose name has become synonymous with invention itself. When I first studied Mr. Edison's career, I discovered not a man born of privilege, but one who possessed little formal education, few resources, and no guarantee of success. Yet he was driven by one dominating desire, to harness the unseen forces of nature and make them serve mankind. Edison's burning desire became the seed of his greatness. He once remarked, "I never failed. I simply found 10,000 ways that would not work." Such persistence can only come from a mind wholly saturated with one idea. That idea, through constant repetition and concentration, impressed itself upon his subconscious, commanding every faculty of his being to find the way. Each experiment was an act of faith. Each failure, a lesson transmuted through autosuggestion into the next attempt. His mind never entertained defeat because he had trained it, through daily affirmation and definite purpose, to believe in one conclusion only: success. But Edison's genius was not his alone. He surrounded himself with a team of men whose minds vibrated in harmony with his own. Together, they formed a mastermind alliance, a group so attuned to one definite purpose that their collective intelligence became greater than the sum of their individual abilities. In his laboratory, ideas leapt from one mind to another like sparks of electricity electric fire. One man suggested, another refined, a third tested, a fourth perfected, all moved by the magnetic current of a single desire to give light to the world. Thus was born the electric lamp, not by chance, nor by solitary genius, but by the organized, concentrated power of the mastermind working through the law of autosuggestion. The science of faith in action. Observe how these principles harmonize. Desire gives birth to the vision. Autosuggestion feeds the subconscious with that vision until it becomes belief. The mastermind multiplies that belief through the combined energy of like-minded individuals. Faith, the final catalyst, transforms belief into physical reality. Edison's success was not a miracle of intellect, but a demonstration of law, the same law that operates through every man and woman who learns to govern thought instead of being governed by it. The same intelligence that responded to Edison responds to you. The same law of attraction that organized his experiments into success waits upon your command. The only difference lies in the definiteness of your desire, the persistence of your thought, and the harmony of the minds with which you associate. The price of purpose. Understand this truth well. No man ever succeeds greatly without first being mastered by his desire. You cannot merely wish to succeed. You must resolve to succeed. You cannot approach your goal timidly. You must demand it of yourself and of life. Every repetition of thought, every act of faith, every moment spent holding your vision before your mind's eye is a deposit made in the bank of destiny. The subconscious mind takes note of these deposits, multiplies them, and in due time returns them as reality. But beware, for the same principle works in reverse. If you feed your mind with doubt, fear, or indecision, autosuggestion will carry those commands to the subconscious as faithfully as it carries those of success. The mind does not discriminate, it obeys. Therefore, take command of your thoughts, for they are the instruments by which you build or destroy your own fortune. Simplify, Rewire formula. Let me give you in clear and definite terms the method by which this law may be applied. 1. Fix in your mind a clear, definite desire. Know precisely what you want, not vaguely but specifically. The subconscious cannot act upon uncertainty. Write that desire in positive, present tense language. Example, I possess the power, wisdom, and courage to achieve my goal. This affirms the reality of your vision. 3. Repeat it daily, aloud, with feeling and conviction. The emotion of faith must accompany the words. Without emotion, the affirmation is but empty sound. 4. Visualize the attainment of your desire. See yourself in possession of it. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction. The subconscious responds most powerfully to vivid imagination. 5. Surround yourself with like-minded associates. Seek those who believe in your vision. Their belief will strengthen your own. This is the mastermind in action. 6. Persist until your belief becomes automatic. When faith becomes your natural state of mind, the unseen forces begin to move in your favor. This, dear listener, is the very process by which Edison illuminated the world. Ford transformed industry, and every successful man has risen from obscurity to greatness. The invisible partner. Many believe themselves alone in their struggles. They do not perceive that when they hold a definite desire with unwavering faith, they have already enlisted the cooperation of an invisible partner, the universal intelligence that responds to thought. This intelligence cannot be bribed nor deceived. It responds only to the vibration of sincerity, faith, and persistence. When you believe so completely in your purpose that no obstacle can shake you, that intelligence moves to your aid. It arranges circumstances, opens doors, and brings opportunities which the idle dreamer calls luck. But there is no luck in success. There is law, immutable, impartial, exact. When man learns to use autosuggestion consciously, he becomes the master of his destiny. No longer does he drift with the currents of circumstance. He becomes the pilot of his own soul. Through the mastermind, he multiplies his power. Through desire, he maintains direction. Through faith, he transforms invisible thought into visible reality. Thus is born a new consciousness, a consciousness of power, purpose, and dominion. He realizes that all limitations are self-imposed, that poverty and failure are but states of mind, and that success, like all creation, begins within. There is a quiet dignity in the man who knows his own mind. He walks not in haste, for he has direction. He speaks not often, for his thoughts are organized. He hesitates not in decision, for he has trained his inner faculties to respond with certainty. Such a man has mastered autosuggestion. He has learned that thought is the most potent form of energy known to man. Invisible, yes, but capable of moving mountains when directed by faith and persistence. And he has learned, too, that no man ever becomes truly powerful until he learns to think for himself, and yet think in harmony with others. Training of the mind. The training of the mind. Autosuggestion is not a single act, but a discipline, a daily conditioning of the mind. You cannot plant a seed one day and harvest fruit the next. You must till the soil of thought, water it with repetition, and guard it against the weeds of fear and doubt. Each morning and evening, when the conscious mind is most receptive, repeat your definite purpose aloud. Speak it as though addressing a trusted companion. Let your words carry feeling, for emotion is the element that burns belief into the subconscious. Words without feeling are like arrows without a point. They cannot pierce the depths of the inner mind. Picture, if you will, your desire as already realized. Feel the warmth of its possession, the satisfaction of its completion. The subconscious does not distinguish between imagined experience and reality. It accepts both as fact, provided emotion gives them substance. Thus, by the daily use of autosuggestion, man re-educates his own nature. He learns to think abundance instead of lack, courage instead of fear, success instead of defeat, and as he thinks, so he becomes. The Ford example, mastery of thought. Let us turn now to a living demonstration of these principles, Henry Ford. When Ford first conceived the idea of building a motor car that the average man could afford, the world laughed. Automobiles were toys for the rich, delicate, impractical contraptions of metal and smoke. The public said, it cannot be done. The financiers said, there is no market. The engineers said, it is impossible. But Ford had heard another voice, the voice of his own desire. That desire, once fixed in his mind, became a command to his subconscious. He repeated it day after day until the vision took possession of him. His thoughts were magnetized by one idea, a car for the multitudes. Every obstacle, every failure, every criticism served only to strengthen that idea. For Ford had trained his mind through autosuggestion to interpret resistance as fuel for determination. He did not wait for approval. He acted upon faith. And faith, once crystallized in thought, attracts its own supply of means. Ford's early workshops were crude, little more than wooden sheds where he and a handful of men labored with tools that would shame a modern mechanic. Yet within those humble walls, the power of the mastermind was at work. His associates shared his belief, and together their thoughts formed a single current, persistent, unified, electric. That harmony of purpose drew to them ideas and solutions which no single mind alone could have produced. This is the mastermind principle in its purest form, the blending of minds in a common cause, multiplied by the emotional energy of belief. There came a time when Ford's financial backers demanded he abandon his dream. They saw no profit in producing low-priced cars for the masses. They urged him to manufacture luxury automobiles for the wealthy. But Ford stood unmoved. He told them plainly, I will build a motor car for the great multitude. It will be so low in price that no man making a good salary will be unable to own one. Such words were not boastful. They were the voice of autosuggestion speaking through him. His subconscious mind had accepted that desire as truth, and his every action reflected it. Time and again, he was forced to begin anew. Factories burned, engineers quit, machines failed, but the thought persisted. He would not yield, because he could not. His belief had become automatic. His subconscious refused to recognize defeat. And so through that unwavering persistence, the impossible became the inevitable. The Model T was born, and with it, an industrial revolution, the invisible power behind industry. Now consider the magnitude of what occurred. A single idea, held in one man's mind, reshaped the habits of nations. It altered transportation, commerce, and even the structure of family life. Such is the power of directed thought, when fortified by faith and united with a mastermind. Ford's genius was not mechanical alone. It was mental. He had learned to build engines of thought long before he built engines of steel. The same law that governed Edison's laboratory governed Ford's factory. The law that thought, when mixed with belief, becomes reality. Ford surrounded himself with men who believed as he did. Engineers, designers, accountants, visionaries, all bound by a single definite purpose. He knew that no solitary mind, however brilliant, could conceive, plan, and execute a task of such magnitude alone. And so, through the harmony of many minds, each contributing his part to a shared vision, a power greater than any one of them emerged, the invisible partner called the mastermind. The faith that builds empires. There is a lesson here for every listener. The difference between the dreamer and the doer lies in belief. Thousands of men desired to build automobiles, but only one believed so completely that the thought became his life's command.